Sometimes it's hard to decide who you're going to target first during a combat. Well, this video is going to help address that. Welcome to the Twisted Tentacle Inn. I'm your innkeeper, and today we're going to be talking about combat target priorities for D&D 5th edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition. Today we're going to be talking about targeting priorities. This is who your team should converge on during a combat first before they target anyone else within the combat. So if you're fighting a group of foes, if you kind of know their role within the combat, which ones are you going to pick first? The weaker enemies, the stronger enemies, the spellcasters, so on and so forth. Now, these are not hard and fast. These are general guidelines. Each combat can be different because of certain dynamics like the location that you're at, the possibilities of not targeting these creatures because they're hidden behind some kind of protective barrier, whatever it may be. If you're not able to prioritize these, you can use this order to then go to the next level in the priority and so on and so forth. That way you can maximize the effectiveness of your team when battling difficult combats or difficult foes. Something to know is that usually you're not going to fight more than just a couple of these in a combat. So generally you'll fight several minions and then like one of these or maybe two of these at the most. That way you'll be able to know kind of which ones to go with first. You may encounter a boss creature and then one of these, and even though the boss creature is like the toughest creature there, they may not be the ones that are going to be optimal to prioritize. So use this guide to help you determine that. So the number one targets that I think player characters should prioritize in a combat are spellcasters. These guys are going to mess up your party the most. There's so many ways that they can do this. Usually spellcasters are very versatile and can pivot within a combat based on a massive spell list. Usually it's very difficult to win a combat if you allow the spellcaster that you're fighting against to do whatever they want to do before getting to them. So definitely prioritize them first. Now, if there are several casters, they're going to have different roles within the combat. Usually there's going to be controllers, there's going to be buffers, and there's going to be debuffers. The controllers can shut down your party, so they are definitely going to be the first priority. Before anyone else, deal with the controllers as quickly as possible so that your party can be the most efficient within the combat. Now, the next ones that you want to take out are going to be the buffers, because they're either going to prevent or make it more difficult for your party, controllers and debuffers, to do their jobs against the enemy targets. So take out the buffers. The reason I say this is that any kind of buff spell usually automatically succeeds. Just like with your group, if you cast haste or if you cast magic weapon, those are buffs. There's no roll you need to make. They automatically boost your party's effectiveness. Same with the bad guys. If you have a buffer that you're fighting against, they're going to improve the entire enemy line's effectiveness against your party. So you want to take them out because your debuffers and controllers are going to have a harder time dealing with those enemies if they have increased saving throws, increased damage output, etc. So controllers first, then buffers, and then finally debuffers. Now, the next one on the priority list, it can be lower on the list depending on what they do, but it is a foe with a very dangerous ability. Usually something like confusion, level drain, grabs. Those are examples of dangerous abilities that can really hinder your party and make certain roles in your party kind of fall apart. So keeping a foe from using their abilities are going to keep your party alive longer. The next step in the priority list are hard-hitting ranged combatants. Archers can take full attacks at range, so you want to take them out before they sap the health out of you and your party. Usually these guys don't hit as hard as melee combatants, but if there are several on the field, or even if there's just one on the field, the damage can add up fast. Not only that, but let's say you have a party formation where you have someone that can defend the spellcasters. If you have a heavy-hitting ranged combatant, they can bypass that pretty easily. They can shoot the arrows right past your paladin and hit the spellcasters, which are your bread and butter for your party to do well. So the ranged combatants are next in the priority list. Now, usually these ranged combatants don't have high health or they usually don't have strong armor either. So that means that they should be pretty easy to dispatch if you target and focus fire against them. The final ones that you want to target are the hard-hitting melee combatants. These guys are big hitters. They're going to take huge chunks of health from your allies or they can one-shot you if you're a spellcaster or if you're unlucky. So you definitely want to hit these and focus on them with your party, especially if they turn out really tough to kill, like they have a high amount of health or high armor. Just take them out, because the longer they're on the field, the more they're going to mess up your party very quickly. Now, of course, this list is simplified and it's a general guideline. I'm not basing it on any other factors like environments and turn order or things like that. All those things play a role, and check out other videos in the series, specifically my video on turn order and turn priorities, because that'll also help you maximize this. Shifting your party's turn order can greatly improve the efficiency of your party. Watch that video first. I'll link it in the video description. Then follow the steps on this one. Of course, in future videos, we'll be talking about additional tactical guidelines that you can use during your role-playing games, especially for Pathfinder 2 and Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. But that does it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, or if you think I missed something, feel free to post it in the comments. People always appreciate when they can read other people's opinions and learn from everybody in the community. Other than that, thank you guys very much. I am your Innkeeper from the Twisted Tentacle Inn. Check in anytime. I'll talk with you then.